gonna say it. Somebody should. Let's talk about tool time. Let's talk about bum wine, yeah. You're asking the questions that nobody could. Like where are the bone thugs and are they in harmony? Do help for Snowman.
The Rhetoric Society Quarterly is right next in between them. What is this?
Well, okay, we should just start in earnest because I have so many things to say, and I haven't even opened it yet.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Is this the Helpful Snowman Christmas special?
Yeah,
Post-Christmas special.
let's call this the Christmas special, and we got for listeners, we've got special coal for your stocking
Right.
in the form of a promised little exploration of Rhetoric Society Quarterly.
I don't know if it goes as far as coal. Like, it's not an act of punishment, but like it's a stuff. You know what it is? It's a stocking filler. Where the stuffer is like, ooh, I'm excited for this full stocking. Stuff like this is more like, oh, you got to pad it out.
Well, maybe we should explore it a little, and then the listeners can decide.
Listeners can decide for themselves
what tier they want to put this on as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have Ian.
Hello.
And
Dead air.
Jen. I was waiting because I was like, am I doing a Jen or a Wilma? But we're doing a Jen. I was pretty sure.
Fine.
I was pretty sure we were at Jen firmly these days.
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable. So
All right. So I am holding 2 issues of Rhetoric Society Quarterly. And this is actually kind of convenient because, Jen, you're phoning in, not effort-wise, but literally. And so, like, if I'm describing something and it's hard to picture, you can let me know. But, I mean, the bad thing is trying to describe something visually on a podcast, but the good thing is there's really not much to describe.
You have a benefit here. There's not a lot to visually describe.
So I guess for those unfamiliar, maybe briefly describe what the fuck is an academic journal? Why does it exist?
All right. So an academic journal is for various college professors who do research, right? Sometimes your research will get turned into a book eventually, or sometimes like what you have to say is not book length, right? So what you might say is this is kind of a, should I write a book on this? But also like, maybe I'm done with something. And Peter has taken a Picard sweat and may not survive.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow, that was sudden and fierce.
Yeah. He was outraged at the idea that maybe there wouldn't be a whole academic book. But basically, like,
yeah, do a whole book length work. If you don't have a book length.
Academic publishing does at least one smart thing, which is to say some ideas don't need a whole book.
Sure.
Right. Some ideas need 20 typewritten pages. Right.
Okay.
You say you get your whole thing out. It's kind of like, it's not like in popular fiction publishing where like, okay, maybe you have an idea that's a good short story, but doesn't need a whole book.
Yeah. Okay. Like, I get this because sometimes you read like, if I read like a pop business book or a pop psychology book, it seems like, they want to get into like the 250 to 300 page range, but you're reading it and like, it'll be something about like the psychology of happiness.
Yes.
And then they're like, well, in order to understand the psychology of happiness, we have to go back to, caveman days. And I'm like, do we though? Like, I don't know if I need to.
Right.
Maybe you feel like you need to, but maybe just start with what your thing is, and then, if I don't believe it, then I can read further evidence.
And so the idea of an academic journal is to take all of those things that are like proto books or too short to be books, or just like also in a lot of academic journals are book reviews, which gets at the idea of you have an academic book. What is this book about? How is it useful? What's going on here, sort of thing.
So I'm going to just describe this first as an object.
Sure.
It's like a magazine, but thicker.
Mhm.
It's not stapled. It's glue, probably perfect bound. And just the cover is white.
Yep.
And it has RSQ,
Rhetoric
one in
Society
green,
Quarterly.
one in yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rhetoric Society Quarterly, the year, volume, and issue number. And then it has the articles that are in it listed. It's basically a table of contents at the bottom.
On the cover, by the way, like
This is the cover.
yeah, the cover has the table of has a like, here's what's in it.
Yeah. Yep. And like, that's basically it. The back cover is used for mailing purposes. It's
Yes.
got like your address and stuff on it. So so I assume this just comes stuck together with like a sticker.
Pretty much.
And it's like, I get a little bit earlier, you were saying like, it's not meant to compete with magazines on a stand. So that's why there's not really any graphic design going on.
Mm-hmm.
But this feels to me almost aggressively not graphic.
It's a way where to understand academic journals is it's a little bit like trying to get a very small reference book every month. And so there's a lot of things that are about like, I need to find this thing that I've read before. So you try to say like, if I'm pulling this off of a shelf, for example, or out of a bin usually, which is kind of where they used to be in the old days. They'd be stacked on top of each other, but usually a librarian or someone would be pulling this out. You could see on the cover if you have the right one right away, because like it will have what you're looking for.
I feel like this is like perfect fodder for like a Collier's Mansion, or like if you wanted to, eccentric millionaire idea, like you just get rich and you just fill storage lockers with nonsense.
Yes.
So that when someone buys it sight unseen, then they open it and then they're like, ah, shit. Like this is like the perfect kind of thing.
I think what you also could do it is if you had some type of criminal enterprise. And I was going back, I think I was listening to a different Helpful Snowman episode where you were talking about like, where you had like books, like a book safe, but the book did not look like any other book on your shelf.
It was the complete works of Shakespeare.
Right.
Because I had that from school and it was thick, but next to the Green Lantern Kyle Rayner saga, it didn't exactly.
Like it was sort of the complete works of Shakespeare and then a bunch of comic books. And you're like, well, something's weird about this book. What you do is you put like all of the information about your criminal enterprise in the sort of series of like, say, Rhetoric Society Quarterly, and if you remember what issue it's in, it's fine. But like, there's no way, say, the DEA is going to look through every single one of these.
This would be like a low tech communication. Right. It's funny that you say that because I was just thinking like, do you think there's an academic journal out there that's just a front for like some kind of money laundering scheme or something?
I mean, they're all kind of fronts in a way.
They're all scams.
One of the things that's kind of unusual is that like a lot of people who have research as part of their academic job, like to get tenure, for example, publishing in like Rhetoric Society Quarterly is something that someone could use to get tenure.
Right.
Now, the median academic article is read by, I think it's like 2.1 or 1.2 people who are not assigning it for a class.
Right.
Or as part of their own, using it for their own research.
So most of the articles in here have been read by approximately 2 people.
On average, an article is likely to be read by 2 people who are not reading it for a class or for their own research.
I'm going to ask you a tough question right now.
Yeah.
This is like a life question, and I don't want you to take this in an insulting way.
Sure.
It's the way my brain works, and I'm not proud of it. And it's caused me a lot of problems in my life.
Sure.
How does this this just make it feel like life is futile? Like, like, I don't know, nothing we do matters. It just all turns to dust. It's hard for me to hold this and not feel that way.
It's a thing.
I find this kind of really depressing in that way.
It's something that I feel much more when I go to academic conferences in a way where like I can read this and I can imagine a very different type of person. And that what I tend to imagine is the type of person who like does really care about this thing, but there also is a part of them that says like, I need to write this to get a tenure line job. Like there's a career element to it. It's not like, it's sort of like it's not the worst part of their job, but probably like if they could write about anything they wanted, they might not write this thing exactly.
They might not write rhetorical misattunement, alienation, hegemony, and the infrastructure in drug war politics.
Right. They would write something a little different.
Epideictic listening.
Epideictic listening.
Epideictic listening, from a reflective case study to a theory of community ethos. Also, well, that one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 authors.
It's sometimes there are things that are like collaborations with lots of people. That's, sort of common, not as common in Rhetoric Society Quarterly as it is in like a hardcore science journal. Like, this is very different too than like if you get like a hardcore science journal. Like a hardcore science journal, like as much as these, if you read them, will feel dense and incomprehensible, these are actually meant to be read by sort of people in a way that like a science journal is meant to be like more like a manual on how to replicate an experiment.
Sure.
Right. Where it's a kind of IKEA instructions.
Right.
Is a good science article. It's like, these are the IKEA instructions to replicate the experiment that I did.
Okay.
Where this is not, this is more like a argument I'm trying to make about a thing.
So like in theory, if I like dedicated myself to one of these articles, I could understand it. Well, sort of.
If you picked the right article, you probably could. And part
something
of
that I would know something about already.
Part of what is also hard is that, similar to like, say, you listen to the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast.
Yeah.
Right. And part of what's hard is that if someone came to you today, like say friend of the show, Jen, who's on right now, if you had to tell Jen where to start with Tell 'em Steve Dave, what would you tell her to do?
Yeah, I guess I would be like, I don't know, maybe 2022, or I would be like, just jump in and then hang on. And you'll just have to suffer through, I don't know, 6 months of it. And then either you'll like it or not.
There's a bit of like with a chatty podcast, you have to sort of know the cast of characters, know the stuff, know what's being responded to. Like there's a history that builds up.
Right.
And even with something like Rhetoric Society Quarterly, the early articles had stuff like, what is rhetorical research ? Where you could have an idea of what this article is about.
Oh, okay.
From the title. It'd be like,
yeah.
Or it'd be something like rhetoric of protest, period.
Right.
Not to preview for later. And because it's so new, like the early ones will have, here are some books about rhetoric.
I see.
That's it.
So like the early ones, it was like they'd covered nothing.
Right.
So they could just kind of, it was more like a People magazine of Rhetoric Society. Right. Because it's like, well, I mean, we could do basic stuff, but then once you're around for a while, you're like, it's like what happened to BuzzFeed or something, where they're like, oh, we got to get more niche because we're running out of
get smaller and smaller because you have to like the thing with academic journals too is they generally have to publish something new.
Oh, like it has to be a new concept.
Like everything has to be fairly new, or at least somewhat new to that journal. Like it has to be new to that journal or a new concept or something else. And so it has to reference things in the past, but not too much. But it has to, like, every academic article in order to be published in theory needs to like push on the boundary of knowledge. Like,
I see. So there has to be, I see.
Yeah. And sort of like, if you think about push on the boundary of knowledge, you're not like trying to change the whole world. You're sort of like saying, I'm going to make this little dimple in this one area. And like when you're trying to push the boundary of knowledge, it's hard to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say one of the things that I feel about academic journals in general is that it gets to the point where you're pushing on the boundary of knowledge simply for the sake of pushing on the boundary of knowledge. And so then, you know, once you get to the edges, it's like, what is left to say? And then that's how you end up with some of these titles. Because it's like...
Yeah.
So you have to sort of like cobble together so many elements to do something new.
Maybe the equivalent of that from my world was like when I was writing for Lit Reactor, occasionally I would have to write an article that maybe had, I wouldn't say a completely fake hot take, but maybe a take that I made a little hotter than it needed to be, than I really felt, because in order to say anything useful about something, you had to say something.
It's a thing where you could say, you're like, if you had a hot take on Lit Reactor, be like, Lonesome Dove is an okay book, as opposed to Lonesome Dove is hot garbage.
Yeah, I mean, like, the most successful articles over there that I was involved with were things like defending the sex scene from Stephen King's It.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's like a hot take or whatever. But if I was still writing for them today, I'd be like, well, I covered this, I covered this, I covered this. So then you got to get, more specific in order to talk about the same things again.
And part of the problem where it becomes a weird, it's hard to call it a scam, but there's kind of an unusual part of a system, is because people get promoted by having their articles published. There's an idea of like wanting to publish more stuff so that way people can, get promoted, keep their jobs, get better jobs, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so there's a proliferation of outlets, but it becomes harder and harder to sort of like press on that boundary of knowledge, because like the standard of what someone has to do becomes higher and higher.
Right.
That it was easy to say something back in the day, whereas it's now harder to say something new.
Right.
And so you have to get more and more granular, more and more weird, but that also means it becomes harder and harder to access, in that when I'm teaching a class, I find myself going back to stuff from like the 1970s a lot more, because the students can understand what this is about.
Right.
As opposed to like, I have to then explain a whole bunch of references to a whole bunch of things, and then they might be able to get it if they read it at all.
Like if you were going to talk about engaging holisms, rhetorical topology, and the probiotic turn.
Yes.
There's like 5 words in here that I'm like, these are concepts I'm completely unfamiliar with. And I would need to know what they were before I could even talk about how they interact with each other.
And the X turn is a big problem in academic research, but that's a separate topic. Jen had something to say.
Oh, I was just going to say the whole thing about like, you have to do this to get tenure. Also, to me, kind of feels like, to make a parallel with like, I don't know, the business world or something. Sometimes I get the feeling that people in the business world are doing like new projects just for the sake of telling their boss that they did a new thing. So they can be like, I brought, 6 new projects, into our office or whatever, when it's like, okay, but did we need 6 new projects? I mean, I'm pretty sure that some of the things we were doing were working just fine and didn't need to be like revamped or whatever, but like they just did it to try and get a promotion. And then the next person who comes along and replaces them has to deal with these projects that no one really asked for.
I see. Sometimes I think that's what's happening, like at, I don't know, Microsoft, right? And like they add some weird fucking feature to Microsoft Word. And I'm like, are they just doing that because some guy working there was like, I need to say something in a meeting so I get noticed, and was like, this will be my little pet project that, we make, I don't know. Why don't we have Copilot on automatically? And it's like, no one wants that.
Nobody wants that. Like, I want Copilot to be easy to turn on and off, not, what if it's just on by default?
Honestly, as long as it's hard to, or easy to turn off. If it was really hard to turn on, that would be fine.
Like I've found on my work computer, when I first got it in the Windows 11 and it had Copilot on it.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out like how I could turn it off. And I had to look up online, like, how do I turn it off? Just like, 'cause it was always on by default. My computer, like everything was running really slowly.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, in trying to find the way to turn it off, I had to go by the uninstall button so many times.
Right.
I was like, the uninstall button's right here.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so easy to just uninstall it as opposed to turn it off. So I uninstalled it. Then there would be an update and it would reinstall itself without telling you. It'd be like, hey, don't you like Copilot?
It's like a perfect example, because like we all know why they're doing Copilot, right? But like in Windows 11, the start button/search menu being in the center of the taskbar instead of on the left side. And you're like, we've been doing the left side for like 30 years, guys. But some motherfucker was like, what if, hear me out, what if it was in the center? And it's like, oh, that's innovative. And it's like, it's not. You know, we don't want that. No one wants that.
It's like, I'm like, well, I guess it's different.
Now I'm looking
at... Whoops. I don't know what that was. They also... Sorry. They also hid the... something just fell off the wall. Sorry. I was going to say, they also hid the calendar with Microsoft.
Oh, yeah. When you click on the clock. With
Windows 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to like call our tech services or whatever and be like, first I tried to do it myself and it was like impossible. And so I was like, can I have the calendar back? Because I actually use it like constantly.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
And I was just like, why did they do that?
And then you go online and it's like some Microsoft forum and then it's some fucking nerd who's like, well, here's a macro you can do or whatever. And I'm like, guys, we're all on our work computers. We can't do that. Like you have to, there should be a way I'm sure there's a way to look at a calendar.
Like if I have to get into a macro to look at a calendar, I'm like, well, I'm just not going to use this. And more, I just sort of look over to my right and look at my print calendar for things.
I was going to say it's time to go back to Comic a Day Farside calendars.
Right. They're like, I have a meeting on Cow Tools Day.
Now I'm looking at this second issue of Rhetoric Society Quarterly. Now this one made the bold decision to have a sort of a gradient that goes from yellow to white.
Oh yeah.
It kind of looks like a water cylinder that's filling with urine.
Yep. It's a pH. You're trying to see this. This is a urine sample. Like that's really seemed to be the color, unfortunately, that they're going for.
Yeah, I don't know. This is not. It's actually not a not nice color, but I think it needs to be with other colors to work.
On its own, it looks weird.
Yeah, and as a gradient, there's something about it that reads as liquid to me.
Yeah, yellow gradient turns into piss real fast.
We had, this is like a complete side tangent, but like at the library where I worked, they had a product for cleaning the toilet, and you were supposed to it's like, toilet cleaner, but you makes
sense for cleaning a toilet.
Yeah. And you would just pour it in the toilet, and it was called Lemon Q, and it was a deep yellow color. It looked exactly like urine. And so like without fail, most days someone would come up to the desk and be like, all the toilets might be broken because they're full of like pee. And I was like, that's not pee. It's just the unfortunate choice of color. And it's like someone probably added that color. That was probably a choice, and it's not like it was a natural product or something.
It feels like if you had the blue color in there that's common in a lot of toilet cleaners,
then
people won't come in. They'll be like, oh, there's like a cleaner in there. So it's probably fine.
Any color but yellow or brown. Anything outside that spectrum, probably not red.
Yeah.
That's also red. A little concerning, but anything else.
Did you just show up and every toilet's full of blood?
Yeah.
Do you think do you think someone would tell the desk, or do you think like, I'm just going to
leave? Both.
Yeah.
We'd get both. Cause like, I was always sort of surprised that someone came up to tell us like when the toilets were quote unquote full of pee, because I was like, well, did you consider trying to flush it and see what happens? I don't know.
Well, there's some people who like when they see that, they think maybe the toilet's broken. They do the slightly smart thing of like, if this is broken, I might flush it and make it worse.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make it worse.
I suppose.
Like whenever I encounter a toilet not working quite right, I have the thought of like, flushing going to make this worse, or is it going to make it better?
I do think there is a different standard too for like, okay, library toilets, super industrial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like the best possible combination in terms of, I've watched those toilets choke down some things that, I'm impressed.
Right. You've seen things.
Yeah. Also, combine that with like the worst toilet paper of all time because it's the kind of toilet. It's like this is the kind of toilet paper they have in jails. So in case someone tries to clog the toilet, they find it impossible because there's just not. You could throw the whole roll in there and it's not going to do it. Whereas like I could see doing the, you know, I don't know if the toilet's working. Like it seems like coffee shops often have questionable toilets that you're just like, I don't know about this one.
It's a thing where there's a lot of coffee shops. I'll say in the Greeley area in particular, but I think generally like there's a lot of coffee shops that are in older buildings. And they're like, the plumbing is going to be for pee and poo only, you know, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I try to have a bunch of signs to be like pee and poo only, nothing else.
Yeah.
But you know, people throw their tissues down there. They throw their pads down there. They throw stuff down there. Or even if you just have like, which is going to happen at a coffee shop, you're going to have like a pretty epic shit.
Sure.
Yes.
You know, and this is going to take some cleaning to do. So you got to like put in more toilet paper than you would on average. And instead of having the plan ahead, like I got to flush, you know, a couple times.
Yeah.
People are like, I got myself all cleaned up. I got my wad of toilet paper in there. I'm just going to like walk away from this and do a flush. But they can't.
I feel like, okay, I've actually thought about this before with coffee shops. I'm like, coffee shops should expect an epic dump like on a daily. And so I feel like they need to replace all of those toilets intended for like residential use. They need to replace them with like the type of industrial toilet that you see at the library or like other types of like public, you know, accommodations or whatever. I'm like, this is not like someone's house where we're all just kind of, you know, having a little tea time together or something. Like
I got the total opposite of a coffee shop. There's one coffee shop near where Jen and I live, like not terribly far away. This is going to seem wild. I'm looking for Peter's reaction.
Okay.
It has no bathroom.
None at all?
None.
And is it like a coffee shop that you can sit inside of?
Yes.
You can't even pee?
There's no bathroom for customers. It says on the front, like no restroom.
That seems like not up to code or something.
There's like a bathroom that is employees only.
Yeah.
And I find like the strange thing is that coffee shop, it's one of the coffee shops that I believe that one is a money laundering front. Like that has to be a money laundering front. Like it's not a bad coffee shop. It's actually a good contender for cozy coffee shop in terms of its decor, its spacing, stuff is made of wood.
But
it's
no bathroom, I think, automatically puts it in an F for me.
Like that's the thing, is that it is so cozy that like, you know how you get a little punch card?
Yeah.
They have like a little sort of file cabinet for people to put their punch cards in.
Oh, so you leave it there?
So you could choose to leave it there if you wanted to.
That's crazy.
I think that's crazy too. But like, they're like, this is our neighborhood coffee shop. You'll come back for it. And I'm like, no one does that.
No. See, they're doing it totally backwards. I'm like, guys, don't spend the time you spend going in the little filing drawer to get someone's goddamn punch card out. Spend that time maintaining a bathroom.
It's not something that the employees do. The punch cards are out front for the customers to grab.
You just get your own?
You just get your own punch card.
Oh my God.
Which...
You can just get anyone's punch card.
I could just like flip through till I find one
that's nearly full and primed. And that seems like basically they're like, we don't think anyone's going to steal punch cards, but I suppose someone could like go in and steal a punch card.
I would feel no guilt over it because I would feel like whoever's coming to this place enough that they have a punch card that's full, and it's like they're just living they're floating through life. No need for a bathroom. Like, and you're at a place like putting aside, you know, the effects that coffee sometimes has on the GI tract.
Sure.
You're still drinking liquid. You know what I mean? It's like,
if you're sitting there for a sustained period of time and you're having like, say, a very weak Americano. So a small amount of coffee, ton of water.
Yeah.
You're like, if I'm going to be here for like 45 minutes drinking basically water.
Yeah.
Still going to want to pee.
I mean,
it's also a diuretic.
Yeah.
Like it forces both water and poop out.
Well, and it's like, it has to be a move, right? They just don't want people being there for longer than 30 minutes. Like, it's just not possible to be there. And you know what else sucks about this? I'm going to complain.
All right.
There's probably a gas station somewhere within a couple blocks of there that's getting all the runoff from this coffee shop, because people leave because they're like, I got to take a piss.
There is a like a sort of grocery store nearby, like U.S. Chef's Supply.
Yep.
And that probably has that's where everyone goes to take a shit.
Yeah. So this poor Chef's Supply is like, basically getting literally the runoff.
Or actually what's really close to there is a Ross.
Oh, yeah, Ross.
And so you've decided, like, well, I've chosen violence, and I'm going to go to the Ross bathroom to work out my my coffee shits.
Yeah. Yeah, boy. I think the thing is, like, well, number one, I would like campaign for mayor on coffee shops must have a bathroom. But number two, this would be a great second eccentric millionaire idea, is you hold a yearly contest and coffee shop customers can submit for the coffee shop that has the worst bathroom. And then you like renovate, or maybe this is like an HGTV show.
That feels like an HGTV show. Like it is something like the, perk up, right? Is what you would call it.
Yeah.
And you have to like go to the coffee shop and be like, this looks terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But just the bathroom.
Just the bathroom.
That's all I'm doing is the bathroom, and like patrons can be like, look, I love this coffee shop, but what the fuck, man? Like, this is not, they have a squat toilet here.
I think that's the thing that I've realized is that with a lot of the, the pursuit of cozy coffee shop bathroom is our mom's current project.
Yeah.
And I feel as a,
not cozy coffee shop bathroom, cozy coffee shop.
Cozy coffee shop. But I feel like cozy coffee shop is pretty rare. Like where we live, I think there's like one nearby coffee shop that I think qualifies as cozy, with another, I think, asterisk one that's cozy. So like one and an asterisk.
Yeah.
I think in Greeley, it feels like there is no longer a cozy coffee shop. But the challenge of the cozy coffee shop is that it almost always has a pretty bad bathroom.
Yeah, I think it is. But, that's what makes me want to start this project. It's like, why does it have to be that way? And we'll get Japanese toilet designers to come in and like design a special toilet for this bathroom. You're going to have a bidet and like plays the music to cover up the noises.
You have a plumber and a hydrological engineer to be like, look, we got the guy who works at the Monterey Bay Aquarium to like, how do we get enough water in and out of this tiny space?
Yeah. If you had to flush a whale down a toilet, how would you do that? I assume that's what you do when the whales die.
You just like
is a flush mechanism.
You just shove it down.
Yeah, the tank just empties into the ocean somehow. Yeah, I feel like that's a worthwhile project, even though if it wasn't a good show, because I'd have to like pretend, oh no, the toilet seat's not coming in on time. We need this custom toilet seat or something. I don't know.
We have a lot of like the sort of coverage shots outside of like birds and like trees.
Yeah.
And the music going like, whoa, 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 yeah.
Well, and then
living my ambition.
And you could fill the show basically with, like the same little things. Like you go in, you try the coffee, and you're like, oh, what a cute coffee shop. And you look around and get a little tour, and then you're like, and then we went to the bathroom. And dun dun dun. What's that one sound effect? That that they always play on those. Anyway,
you just have to play the theme music from Don't Shit Your Pants.
So I guess what I should probably do is just like, should we pick one of these articles and I'll just read like a paragraph?
There's an abstract, which is the nice part about any article, is it gives you the abstract that is a preview of what the article is about.
Okay. So should I read some of these and you guys can just stop me when you hear one that you're like, yeah, let's do that one.
Sure.
The controversy behind the controversies, scientific discourse in the 21st century. Rhetorical creativity in particle physics and the crisis of naturalness. Engaging holisms, rhetorical topology and the probiotic turn. What's crazy is look how better I got. Rethinking ethos in the crisis of perpetual stasis. Reckoning with asymptomatic illness. Visceral certainty and the limits of communicating risk. Rhetoric of science and sustainability inquiry. Ecology, economics, and political sciences. Rhetorical encounters with life out of bounds. And that's capitalized, so maybe that's a thing. Legitimate interests, anti-abortion legislation, medical science, and the need for rhetorical ingenuity. And we've also got the peace that may unite all. Constitutive?
Let me see it. That would be
constitutive.
Constitutive. Mm-hmm.
You can tell what a good time I would have with that one, because I'm like, I don't even know this word. Rhetorics and the rhetorical construction of the peaceful citizen. Rhetorical misattunement, alienation, hegemony, and infrastructure in drug war politics. A note on dissuasio?
Let me see.
A neglected type of counter-argument in Roman deliberative rhetoric?
It's probably about how it's pronounced.
Epidictic learning? From a reflective case study to a theory of community ethos. Those are the articles in these two.
I'm going to go back to, was it the peaceful citizen?
Yes.
It sounded kind of interesting, maybe.
That peace may unite all. Constitutive, damn it, of course it's that one. Constitutive, C-word rhetoric, well, no. Constitutive rhetorics and the rhetorical construction.
C-wordy rhetoric.
And the rhetorical construction of the peaceful citizen by Stephen Kwame Dadugbloor.
You'll just have to go with Steve for that.
Stephen Kwame.
Stephen Kwame, who's interested in the construction of the peaceful citizen.
Let's see. Wait a minute. How do I know?
Let me.
Yeah,
I'll find.
I can't even get to it. I don't even know how to do it.
So the nice
it
part,
doesn't have a page number.
So this is going to make you really angry. In that the front part, the pages are not actually going to start with page 1 like you would normally have. You have to imagine that basically 4 of these come out a year.
Oh my God, the first numbered page in this one is 208.
Yes, and so they think of each one as basically one big magazine that comes out in 4 parts.
Who is in charge of this?
Oh, I know.
Who?
Ian actually has a direct connection to someone, although I don't know if he wants me to say that person's name in this context.
You can go ahead.
Okay. You should go to the very back cover.
Uh-huh.
You see the editor at the top there?
Oh, let's see. Jenny Rice.
Okay, not Jenny Rice. If you go down to the editorial board.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of people that I know
in the middle.
I forgot about that. Yeah, on the editorial board, there's people that I know who I work with who are on the editorial board, so they make some of these decisions.
Oh, I see.
They don't necessarily decide exactly that because this is how it's been all along.
One of these persons is not just a colleague, but actually a pretty close friend.
Yes.
I mean, how effective would it be if I started emailing all these people to be like, guys, what the fuck? Why are you doing this way? No other publication. You don't read Glimmer Train short stories and it's the first page is just a crazy number. Okay, so here we are. The Peace May Unite All by Steve. Should I read the abstract?
The abstract is going to tell you what it's about, so that way you can kind of... The nice part about an academic article as opposed to a regular one is that you don't have to figure out if it's worthwhile to you. If you read the goal of an abstract is to tell you what's in the rest of it.
Before I can do this, I have to point out something, which is that it appears this was copied from a website because there's a little button printed in the upper corner of the title page of this that says check for updates.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And like there's no like URL or anything. It's just like it's a website button that just says that.
That's probably in
like
their
someone
template.
Screenshotted this and then just like pasted it. What the hell is going on?
I want to see really quickly to see if that's in all of them or just in the one. Because I think what happened is somebody put in the like, the sort of header. Oh yeah, it's in all of them.
Yeah, it's in this one too. Oh yeah, you're right. I think it's like a website header, but it's just been printed on here. But this is like, okay.
It's also strange in the print version that they put the DOI link in there, which is if you're in print, totally worthless or mostly worthless. Because like if you see that DOI thing there, it's like you could find this article again in theory if you just typed all of that in, but you ain't gonna do that.
To give you an idea of the Peace May Unite All article, DOI, it's got a website that's doi.org/10-period-1080/02773945.2025.2473893.
But if you got to a wrong address, would you check it again or would you be like, nah, fuck it?
Fuck it. Yeah.
Right.
I guess I'm not going to read this.
But if it just gave you a 404 error, you'd be like, well, I don't know if it's gone or if I typed it wrong or what.
Yeah, they've never heard of bit.ly over there at Rhetoric Society Quarterly.
Yeah, or like a QR code or something. Like, come on, guys.
All right, so let's get to this abstract.
Let's start with the keywords. Africa, citizen, constitutive, rhetoric, peace, and post-colony.
Now,
so most of those I understand.
Now, the nice part about a keyword is that if you're on the online version of a journal like this and you say, I want everything that's about peace, that uses the keyword peace. So what people do is they select articles to say, like when someone's searching for research purposes, like say I'm researching peace and I'm using Rhetoric Society Quarterly for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I can have them all come up at once. Or if you're putting them into a larger database,
sure.
Anytime someone puts in the searches for the word peace as a keyword, like this will come up. So there's a lot of like academic articles were doing keyword optimization very early.
Yes, sure. Okay, abstract. Studies of constitutive rhetorics of national identity frequently assume a Westphalian nation-state model, a model that developed in Europe and North America from the 17th century onward. This article suggests that historical conditions such as colonialism that shaped the development of the nation-state elsewhere call for attention to the rhetorical possibilities and constraints of national identity construction in post-colonies beyond Westphalian nation-state assumptions. I've never felt so close to being like red-pilled in my life. Like I feel threatened by the density of this in a way that
so I understand what's going on so far.
Okay. Illustrating with a Ghanaian example, this article argues that, given the historical context of nation-state formation in Africa, the disruption of temporality caused by colonialism and geopolitical realities from the post-Cold War period onward, post-colonial national identity construction in Ghana can be understood as reliant on the constitutive rhetoric of the peaceful citizen. In this multi-ethnic and multilingual nation-state, the figure of the peaceful Ghanaian operates as a unifying idea of national identity, bridging divisions at home and repairing European images of African political pathology abroad. So, I mean, should I try and guess?
Sure.
And would you be able to like tell me if I'm like barking up the right tree here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like the opening is saying something along the lines of like, we're used to looking at rhetoric in a sort of Western Europe / American lens.
Yes.
And so let's see. We should try doing not that, because perhaps the post-colonial national identity construction of Ghana. So the way that people in Ghana feel about what they are politically or whatever, societally.
Yes.
So needs to be understood by examining a peaceful citizen of Ghana and their sort of whatever stuff.
So part of what's helpful as a word to get at is when it says Westphalian.
Yeah, I've never seen that word. It's like a Westphalian. It looks like, you know, you have a sexual fetish for people from the West.
Right. So Jen probably knows, as a history nerd, the Treaty of Westphalia.
I remember the name of it. Yeah. And then it's like kind of one of those things like the Magna Carta or whatever.
Yeah. So the Treaty of Westphalia basically was trying to, the big thing that it does is it tried to take Europe. Instead of making Europe like a bunch of various church dominions or like warlords and stuff, to try to get it into something like nation states. Like there would be sort of a Belgium or a France. And like France would be something like have like a government or a nation state. It's not like just a sprawling empire where like the king says, well, this is mine and I just take it.
Oh, and it's like constantly in flux.
Yeah, it's just constantly moving back and forth. And so what it tries to get at the idea in Europe to sort of, instead of having like, because it comes after a period of like constant like warfare. I think it's like the sort of like the 6 Years' War, like one of those like kind of war of everybody.
Right.
Where all of these European monarchs got together and be like, let's stop doing this.
What if we didn't just fight over the same
dumb
square miles of land all the time and just you took some and I took some?
Right. To say like, this is mine and then this is yours. And we're trying to like lump peoples together. We're also kind of try to subtly cut the church out of it as much as we can to be like, this isn't really yours. Like this belongs to a sort of, it doesn't belong to
I think we'll keep the spoils of this war.
Right. And even though they still had monarchs, but there was an idea of like, this belongs to like some type of, basically like the Treaty of Westphalia forms what we would think of as a country.
Right. Okay.
Right. So like the country, you know, like you lived in France, like Treaty of Westphalia kind of was one of the things that helped build the idea of what a France or a Belgium is.
I see. So basically it's like, what if we did countries?
Right.
And then they were like, yeah, cool.
And the thing is, the Treaty of Westphalia was a bunch of aristocrats and nobles and stuff like sitting down to agree to do this.
And so it doesn't
I assume
work in Ghana they have a different system.
Well, part of it was that Ghana like worked very different culturally, but Ghana as a country didn't exist until after colonialism, right? Because those Europeans like also decided like, when we take colonial possessions, there's like a this is mine.
So like I have France and France is mine.
Right.
And I'm not going to take Belgium because Belgium is Belgium's.
Mm-hmm.
But Ghana, on the other hand,
yes,
I can has Ghana.
I can has Ghana. And then also what becomes hard is that like all of the, like a lot of countries in places like Africa or South America are divided up based on like colonial properties. And so when colonization ends at some point, those boundaries don't necessarily go away.
Oh, right. But it's like a even more artificial boundary than
right
you would typically have for like a country. Yeah,
because sometimes there can be in large parts of Africa, there's like, oh, the colonial European powers would come in and split like it would split up all these ethnic groups or religious groups or something else, or like mash people together that actually didn't belong together.
Right. Because they'd be like, well, this is France's part and we'll just divide it by this mountain range. And they're like, actually,
there's a British sketch show. I think it's like Hugh and Laurie or something like that, where they have a joke about the Treaty of Westphalia, where there's like a even it went so far as in like in Eastern Europe, they're like, I don't know anything about it. We'll just like burp, 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 done.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we'll just cram all these people together. That doesn't make any sense.
Kind of like how the housing development I live in is whatever. What the hell is this thing called? West something.
Mm-hmm.
West Ridge 1 and West Ridge 2. But there's like literally no difference other than someone decided that one part is 1 and one part is 2. And they're like, but they're governed differently by the HOAs.
Yes. It's
and
like
they have their own government, but it's like, these should probably be one thing.
Jen can speak to this, but it's a little bit like we have an HOA, but someone nearby us can have a completely different HOA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to what you're describing, Peter, like for yours, where people come and walk into our like housing complex area or whatever, and there's actually like, I don't know, 4 or 5 addresses, but everyone thinks it's one address because they all look the same.
Oh, I see.
And so part of the idea is that if your state arose from colonialism, right, where maybe the boundary doesn't make sense ethnically, religiously, whatever else, you're going to have a different relationship to the state and also to be a citizen of that state than somebody who's like, there's a mythology to some degree, but like Sweden was for the Swedes, Norwegian was for these Norse people, like there's an idea of a kind of similar ethnic, cultural, religious, linguistic heritage of some kind.
So like, would it be fair to say like, okay, so like if you're Swedish, you have this like cultural identity that goes way, way back.
Right.
Whereas if you're Ghanaian, you might have a cultural identity, but it's not actually.
Your state is really new. Like your nation state
not really
is
based on
right.
that.
You might not feel and that depends on the article too, where like you might feel a stronger relationship towards like your ethnic or tribal group, but that ethnic or tribal group might go across a bunch of different nation states.
Right. Like if Greenland bought Colorado and Wyoming and then decided where I live is Wyoming.
Right.
And then I'd be like, well, I don't really feel like a Wyomingite.
That if somehow
so what is my cultural identity?
Right. If somehow the free state of Colorado people like merged, the Weld County into Wyoming for tax purposes.
Oh, God willing, we'll get there someday.
You wouldn't all of a sudden be like, well, now would you feel like, well, now I'm a Wyoming person. I guess that's where I am.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Probably not.
And so part of the idea is that in order to think of yourself as a citizen of a country, you have to think about what your country is. And part of the problem is that a lot of like rhetoric also studies like how people do politics and think of themselves as citizens. And what does it mean to be a citizen when you kind of don't relate to other people primarily through like a sort of nation state? Or like your idea of what a nation state is very different than what you and I experience as nation state.
Okay, can I share an uncharacteristically like deep thought for this venue? I feel like this is like too impenetrable, like for me. But there are ideas within it that are like interesting. But I feel like we live in a world where currently there's like a shrinking middle class of this kind of thing. So in other words, you've got this, which I don't know if we're calling this the upper class or the lower class. And then you've got, it's
like upper class by education and time, lower class by actually getting paid.
Yeah.
Or middle class by actually getting paid in most cases.
And then you've got the other opposite end of the spectrum, which is like People magazine, right? And it's like, but there should be something in between these two poles. And I know there's like a little bit out there, but it just doesn't feel like that's a big thing.
Academic things are a little bit like very dense comic books pre-internet. Or like, it's like comic continuity in a pre-internet era. Where like, in order to understand a lot of like what was going on in certain like events in a superhero comic, you had to have read the whole thing, and you had to have read previous ones.
Right. Like if this was referencing Crisis on Infinite Earths instead of Westphalia, and then I would be sitting here schooling you guys about what that was.
Exactly. And so there's a little bit of like academic stuff kind of assumes you've read a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It has a very steep learning curve, if that makes sense. And also there's a thing with academic articles, and I try to tell my students this, is that they're not actually meant to be read in the way that you would read a People magazine, where you're like, I'm just reading this in the grocery store by myself. And on my own, reading this one article, I understand everything in it. Like a lot of these are actually made for graduate students and other researchers to read, and you argue over it. The best way to experience these types of writing, this type of writing, is to have a bunch of people read it. You go to a bar, you have a pitcher of beer, and you argue about it. You know, like, what does it mean? Why is it written this way? What is the point? And like, you try to work through it. It's more like a challenging co-op puzzle than it is something you do as a solo venture.
I see. So this is like, I mean, okay. Personal question. Is that like a fantasy life for you? That like once every 2 weeks, you would have a meetup at a bar with other people who've read the latest issue of Rhetoric Society Quarterly, and then you could discuss the articles. And maybe I would be there being like, trying to figure out, yeah, that's what I thought it was about too.
Fantasy might be a bit strong, but I'd be like, that's pretty nice. You know, like imagine basically think about it as the book club where everyone read. You know, and that's part of the nice part of that is the best part about reading these academic articles with other people. Most of the time is that 80%, they're gonna like 80% of people will have read at least 90% of it, which if you had a book club experience, that would be astounding. Like if you showed up and everyone had read it.
I just feel like what I need is like a Rhetoric Society Quarterly, and then in the back it's got like references, and it's like, okay, before you read this, you probably need to look up what Westphalia is. You know,
that's
and like
the thing
stuff like
where
that.
Sometimes a lot of academic articles will drop in a term, or if you're reading the whole thing, it might explain a little bit of what it is.
Yeah.
But the abstract's goal is to tell you, like, if you're writing a research paper, like let's say you're a student and you're trying to write a research paper, and you just go to ChatGPT to do it for you.
Right.
You're like, is this article going to help me? Yes or no? And if it's like none of this stuff is relevant,
right,
then you're like, okay, don't need to read the rest of it.
I don't need to spend my time trying to figure this out.
I don't need to know what the Treaty of Westphalia is because this is not about what I'm about.
Right. Okay.
All right.
So you brought a game.
I brought a game
based on Rhetoric Society Quarterly, as if it's not fun enough already.
I mean, it's pretty fun on its own, but we figured, you know, this was coming back a little bit where last time we were here, we needed to go back to some roots. And what came up was, you know, we did a lot of times where we had, you know, questions and things like that. But what hasn't happened for a long time was the Roseanne game.
Yep.
So I don't know if people remember the Roseanne game, but just as a reminder,
it's been quite a long time.
Yeah.
The Roseanne game was a game where basically I would present 3 or 4, let's say 3, Roseanne episode summaries, but 2 were real and 1 was invented. And so you had to try and guess which was the invented Roseanne episode. That was basically it.
Right.
It's like 2 truths and a lie, but just about episodes of the TV show Roseanne.
And the goal was to try and figure out which one was the fake one, or to force the other person to pick the fake one.
Correct.
Yes. And so this is similar in that I have made one fake Rhetoric Society Quarterly article title.
Okay.
And I have picked others that are real.
Okay.
And so what happens is that Peter and Jen will sort of take turns, and your job is to select what you think is a real title.
That's right. It's like process of elimination.
Right. And you eliminate it down. So you're selecting for what you think is a real title. You're trying to avoid the fake title is a whammy.
Yes.
And you want to avoid the whammies.
That's right.
No whammies, no whammies.
Okay. So you're going to read, how many rounds of this do we have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 titles.
All right. Oh, you have 7 total titles.
7 total titles.
Okay. And 1 is real.
1 is fake.
1 is fake.
One is
and we're
fake.
trying to guess not the fake one.
Right. You're trying to pick ones that are real.
That's right. Okay. Okay. I'm ready. Jen, are you ready to hear these titles?
I have to pee.
You could do that.
Okay.
We'll wait.
Okay.
We can discuss strategy.
So
I'm trying not to pick the real.
you're trying to
It's funny when you make the game,
you're trying to pick the one that is real. So you're trying to avoid the one that sounds fake.
Trying to pick the real ones.
Right.
When you make the game, it makes so much sense. And then when you're playing the game,
It seems so much harder.
confusing
It's like
for some
confusing.
reason.
You're like, am I trying to find a real one or a fake one?
it's like a double negative thing. Like I'm trying to not do the not.
Mhm. You want to avoid the fake one and run to the real one. Run to the real. That might be your sort of mnemonic. Run to the real, flee from the fake.
Have you ever published anything in Rhetoric Society Quarterly?
I think I have something that is like one of those. I was part of a project that had a bunch of people on it. So yes, something did. I think it got published in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and yes, I do.
Okay.
So I have one thing where my name is in the journal somewhere.
I had
I'm back.
All right.
All right. I was just saying I had one thing that I wrote cited in an academic journal article, and it was a book review I did of Phantom of the Opera where I just trashed it.
So I think, what's nice is that you can look yourself up on Google Scholar and you might see you have one citation.
Oh, maybe.
Mhm.
Should I try it?
Yeah. See if you find yourself on Google Scholar, scholar.google.com.
That's kind of fun.
Let's see if it works. Didn't come up. Let's try Peter Dirk, Phantom of the Opera. Maybe that'll. Oh, there we go. I think this is it.
Oh, nice. Okay, so like I don't know if you're aware of the way that like citations work. Is that like the more citations you have, like, or the more times people cite to you, it's like you grow in power.
It's sort of like you level up. So part of the goal is to put out articles, and it's not just to say I put out the article and it's done. When you're trying to get promoted, you say, how many people cited this article? How many citations do I have?
Oh, you know what? I think I have another one, but this is not in a language that I know. But it's about Bob Dylan's induction into the, about him winning the Pulitzer Prize, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're like at level 2.
Look at that. That's me. Look at that, Google Scholar. I feel like this actually makes Google Scholar seem less reputable.
Google Scholar is a thing to say that it is comprehensive. Like it's sort of it's kind of like how when I have to explain a difference in one of my classes, they explain a difference between an academic library and a public library. And the academic library's job is to be complete.
Yeah.
It is to have everything. Where the public library's job is to be, to some degree, useful.
Yeah.
And you know this as a library expert. Complete and useful are not necessarily going to go together very well. Like they can be, but like
if it's too complete, all the completeness gets in way of the usefulness.
Yes. If you have every book, it's hard to find a book.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, Ian. How many citations do you have?
There's a whole bunch, but like a lot of them are one article that I did a long time ago.
A bunch from one thing. I just decided to look up. Let's see. Oh, he has cited by 159.
Really?
He's got so many citations that it comes up and it's got a little quill pen next to his name. And it's like, tells how many things he's cited in like right away.
Wow.
This is pretty amazing. Look at this. Look at this.
Some things I've written that I'm, have not been cited at all. And other things I'm like, oh, I've had this cited.
Yeah. Journal of Games Criticism.
That's funny because that journal was defunct for so long. Like it was like all the URL didn't go anywhere.
Oh. Do you think it's still here? It's probably here in a PDF, huh?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Someone, put it in there.
Oof. Journal of Games Criticism doesn't have a lot more going on graphic design wise.
That one was web. I mean, what you're looking at there is definitely like a taken from the website because that was a online only journal.
Oh, okay.
And so then someone took it from a website and slammed it in as a PDF. Like that's something that they didn't have a lot of money. So
I mean, it doesn't actually have a literal button on it.
Right.
It's
So, like,
unclickable.
They did a little better. Right. They're like, we're going to put the text in there. We're going to do the job we need to do.
All right. I'm ready to hear these titles.
All right. So I'll give you all the titles.
Okay.
And I can repeat them as needed. So we'll start off with Frederick Douglass and the Attention Shift.
Is that the whole title?
That's the whole title.
Okay.
So as a hint to all of you, or maybe a sort of a thing to get at, is Rhetoric Society Quarterly has been published since about like 1968 or so.
Oh, okay.
And so I took from a variety of decades.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be like one would stick out necessarily.
I see.
All right. The human microbiome as visceral commons, resisting rhetorical enclosure.
Okay. The human microbiome as visceral commons,
Mm-hmm.
and then colon other stuff.
Resisting rhetorical enclosure.
Resisting rhetorical enclosure.
Visceral. Like, is that like viscera?
Yes.
Oh, right. There was one that kind of sounded a little like that. Well, in one of these. Hold on.
Yeah, it was like probiotics. Or
Yeah,
something.
there was a probiotic thing or something. Engaging holisms, rhetorical topology, and the probiotic turn. But I think there was also like a... oh boy. This is in here, I swear. Oh yeah. Reckoning with asymptomatic illness, visceral certainty in the limits of communicating risk. I guess that could be a different visceral.
This different type of visceral.
All right.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. The next one is Painting Phronesis, Practical Rhetoric, and Norman Rockwell.
Painting phonesis?
Phronesis.
Phronesis?
Mm-hmm.
That's a made up word.
That is a real word.
Phronesis?
It is.
Does it blow the game if I ask you what the fuck phronesis is?
Phronesis is a concept from Aristotle. Where he made it like, he kind of wrote a lot about it. It's kind of like basically something close to like common sense or virtue and wisdom kind of all put together, like a common wisdom.
I see.
That's kind of like a rough idea of what it is. Like wisdom that comes through observation and experience.
Okay.
Like common sense?
Yeah. Common sense is like a rough idea of kind of what it is.
Okay.
Grinding against genocide, rhetorics of shame, sex, and memory at the memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe.
Boy, if that's the one you made up, you really went to a weird place with that.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I mean, who's going first?
We haven't decided that yet.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, if you did make that one up, good job.
I'm
Like,
pretty,
you
I'm
went to
pretty
a
sure
place.
that one's real.
I feel like it is probably too. I just feel like if you were making one up, you wouldn't elect to go with Holocaust right off the bat.
All right. We have two more. We have regionalization and the construction of ephemeral collocation.
Ization and
Ephemeral collocation?
Collocation, and collocation has a hyphen in it.
regionalism and the something of
Regionalization and the construction of ephemeral collocation.
Okay.
of ephemeral
I,
location. Okay.
And the last one,
I only have 6.
there's one more.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I have 5 right now.
Okay.
Did I miss one?
Did you get
I have Frederick Douglass.
Oh, I think I skipped one over
Okay.
one. Some available conceptions of rhetorical experience.
Okay. Some available conceptions of rhetorical experience.
Yep. And the last one
Okay.
is the rhetoric of social protest and confrontation.
Rhetoric, social protest, and confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you were saying, Jen, of like, that first one is like Frederick Douglass and the attention shift. And you're like, okay, that's like, there's only like two things happening there in that title. And then you get to the human microbiome as visceral commons resisting rhetorical enclosure or whatever. Okay.
So the question now, remember that you are trying, when you're going through, you want to pick one that you think is real.
Right.
And you want to try and you pick one that you think is real. And if you pick the one that is fake, you lose.
Okay. And ideally, we, don't pick the fake one immediately. And then.
Yes. As is the tradition of the Roseanne game where you blow it on the first go.
And then whoever put the game together did a lot of work for nothing.
You're like, oh, fuck. Well, then we just have to, we'll just have to pull up some Yahoo answers to fill out the time.
True. Okay, Jen, why don't you go first? Because first is advantageous, right?
I think so.
Well, okay, wait. If you go first. Yeah. If you go first, you have the greatest probability of pure guesswork getting the right one, right?
Mm-hmm.
The odds are in your favor.
Well, I mean, the first one's pretty. I think we both know at least one of these is real. Probably the Holocaust one, sex and shame, and that.
So, Jen, are you going first, and then that's what you're picking?
Yeah, that's a real one.
The Holocaust one is what you're picking?
Yeah.
Grinding Against Genocide was published in 2019.
Okay.
So I can give you the year and also mark that you have selected it.
I'm glad that turned out to be a real one, because I was making such a big deal out of like, that'd be kind of fucked up if you made that one up.
Like, it's something vaguely about like people like doing some type of like club or erotic type dancing in this memorial as some type of thing.
Oh, like grinding dancing?
Like MTV's The Grind.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was thinking for some reason like a video game term, like grinding experience.
This particular memorial is like used in this journal and related journals a lot.
Really?
I think, well, my cynical answer, it's because there's a lot of folks who want like a trip to Europe paid for by somebody else.
Oh.
But I think it's also because it is a very odd, like we've been to this memorial before. It's the thing in Berlin where there's all the big sort of like columns,
stones that you can
columns.
Walk between and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like different heights and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And because it's abstract enough, people can interpret it in different ways. Whereas like if you just have a statue of a dude, you're like, well, there's kind of only so much you can write about the statue of the
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
There's that guy.
So let me just rewind back for a second. So like I could be a communications professor and be like, well, I want to write about this monument that's in Germany. I'm going to need to go there in order to do that. So you guys are going to pay for that to happen?
Yeah, it's possible to get them to pay for that, but it takes a lot of paperwork to do it. So it's the patience for paperwork.
I see. Well, okay. I'd probably rather just pay for it then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm very tempted by Frederick Douglass and the attention shift, just because I feel like that one's so simple that it doesn't seem like that would be the made up one. But that could also be a trick. But I'm going with Frederick Douglass and the attention shift.
Frederick Douglass and the attention shift was published in 1991.
Yeah.
And so that gives you like, that actually is a good example of how you can see where 2019 and 1991 were very different times of what was published in Rhetoric Society Quarterly. Like how much more complex and how much more stuff goes in a few decades.
Yeah.
All right.
How big the words are.
Yes, how big it is and how you're like, one becomes somewhat approachable and the other's like, I don't know.
Today it'd be like Frederick Douglass and the attentionality paradigm shift of Westphalian. I learned a new word, so I want to use it.
I did actually, in preparation for this game, use my university provided ChatGPT account to come up with article titles. And they were not bad, but they were like obviously fake.
Oh, okay.
If that made sense, because there'd be like stuff that was just sort of mashed together. So,
well, I mean, to a certain extent, that's how all of these feel to me. So it may have come off as real to me.
Obvious to you, perhaps not to us.
All right, Jen, you are up.
Okay, I didn't write these down, but the very last one you said, can you read that again?
The Rhetoric of Social Protest and Confrontation.
I think that's real.
The Rhetoric of Social Protest and Confrontation was published in 1974.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay. We're getting down to the wire here. I think I'm going to go with some available conceptions of rhetorical experience, because the structure of that title is odd and I feel like it would stick out a little bit. So that wouldn't be the made up one unless, again, I'm being tricked.
It is an article that was published in 1980.
Yes.
You could even see where like it goes in 1991 where it's getting specific. Like you got to talk about Frederick Douglass and attentional shift.
Yeah.
And in 1980, it's like some stuff about rhetorical experience.
Here's some of it, I guess.
Here's a thing that we do, I guess.
A portion.
All right, Jen, you are up.
I just want to celebrate that we have eliminated 4. So we've eliminated more than half. So we're doing pretty good here.
That is pretty good. Can you do me a favor and read I guess it would be 3 remaining?
All right. The 3 remaining are Painting Phronesis, Practical Rhetoric, and Norman Rockwell. The Human Microbiome as Visceral Commons, Resisting Rhetorical Enclosure. And Regionalization and the Construction of Ephemeral Collocation.
Okay.
This is such a hard game.
Do you feel like this is harder than the Roseanne game?
Yes, because like it just feels like literally anything is on the table. You know what I mean?
That somehow, like Roseanne, there had to be is this a TV show plot?
Yeah, and I feel like Roseanne game you can play a little bit thinking like, what would he try to, what does Peter think is funny about Roseanne as a show? And so like, but with this, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Ian.
Like Dan Gets a Go-Kart could be like is that something that Peter would put in? Is it not?
Do you think like if you were sitting around a table of like 10 other people in your field that they would know immediately? Like would it be obvious to them, or do you think it would not be obvious to them?
I think some of them, like, I think they would get farther because some of them would be like, oh, I think I've read that one. But I think in some ways it'd be more embarrassing.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I definitely read this thing. And be like, oh, it's the fake article.
You didn't.
No, you didn't. It was made up.
Well, I mean, perhaps you can get some more mileage out of this game at your next
at the next. If I go to a convention and be like, oh yeah,
this would be a great game. Mildly insulting.
Yeah,
to them,
I made up a title, and you have to guess the made up title.
I mean, this would be a pretty good, like, if I went to a conference seminar, and it was like, before we start, let's just play a 5-minute game,
right?
And you just like call up 2 people from the audience.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Jen.
Okay. Okay, so I guess I am having to use that element of like, what do I think you would find like amusing or interesting? Like if you were, because I mean, you literally do think about writing articles for Rhetoric Society Quarterly one day. Like, I think that would be like a huge get for you. So like, I kind of have to think about like, well, like, what would be your fantasy like submission? Is like kind of how I'm approaching this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think the one that you would not want to submit would be regionalization and co-location. I think it's like, it's not enough, at least not at this point in time. It's not like enough to like impress.
So is that what you're picking as a real one, though?
That's what I'm picking as a real one.
Okay. Well, as a real one, it was real in 2012.
Oh, fuck.
So this is all down to Peter in a way. So this is where the game gets intense, because there are two left.
Yeah.
If he picks the real one, he wins. If he picks the fake one, he loses. So this is all down to one choice. Are you picking the human microbiome as visceral commons, resisting rhetorical enclosure, or painting phronesis, practical rhetoric, and Norman Rockwell? It's hard because they both have colons.
They do. And they both have like a weird element of like stupid to them. Like,
yeah.
Or, I don't know. Like
phronesis for one, and then you've got like rhetorical enclosure. I'm like, what does like rhetorical enclosure of like the human viscera even mean? Like they are literally enclosed within my body.
Yeah.
Like they don't need rhetorical enclosure.
The human biome as visceral commons. Okay. I think I'm going to go with painting phronesis as being real, because I feel like the microbiome as visceral commons, as I understand it, how the fuck would you know what kind of rhetorical thing was happening among like cells?
So you're picking painting phronesis.
I think, yes.
Painting phronesis, practical rhetoric, and Norman Rockwell was published.
Yes!
Never.
Oh, damn it.
That's the fake one.
The human microbiome as visceral commons, resisting rhetorical enclosure
was
is
published
real?
in 2023.
God damn it. Who did that? I want to talk to them. Actually, I probably don't. Oh, man. What a crazy ass.
I like how mad you got immediately that this is. Are you more upset that you lost the game, or are you more upset that this article is real?
I think I'm more upset that it's real. Like, I'm more upset because we just heard about 6 real articles from this, and they didn't all sound crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Frederick Douglass and the attention shift. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, that sounds like a thing that I'm like, that might have a point.
If you saw this like in a college class, you'd be like, okay, yeah, they're talking about Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
Seems like it matters.
I mean, like, or, the rhetoric of social protest and confrontation. I'm like, that seems like a thing that rhetoric is involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But painting phronesis, like,
well, that's fake. That's made up.
Yeah. But, the human microbiome. I mean, also, grinding against genocide being about literal grinding, related to a Holocaust memorial is odd.
I'm wondering if it's about like if it's about dancing. I think this might actually be about like. No, I think this might be about Grindr. Like you're picking
the
up
gay
people,
hookup.
Yeah, the gay hookup app, and you're like picking up people. I think that makes more sense. Like you're picking up people at the
wow,
at the sort of Holocaust memorial, the memorial for murdered Jews. You're like hey, this is where let's meet up here and then bang at the nearby Dunkin' Donuts.
That's just such an odd, why I would pick anything else. Like if I was going on a first date, even if we were meeting at a place that was adjacent to it, I'd be like, the corner of whatever and whatever street. I don't think I'd be like, oh, that, memorial to the murdered Jews of the Holocaust. I don't think I'd do that.
I think,
you know what? Let's just have our first date at a concentration camp.
Well, I think it's if you have a grinder hookup, you want maybe a spot that's like discreet.
I mean,
and then you think like, if you go deep into the labyrinth, you can be like, well, let's just go deep in the labyrinth and bone down.
No.
I'm not saying it's a good idea.
Just no. Just, I don't know. I feel like.
I mean, yeah. Also, like, who else is interested in that? And is that someone that you really want to meet?
Like, there's times where.
Is this a test?
Yeah.
If you're like, if they say yes to this, I'm not going.
Mm-hmm. Like, you're trying to screen people out to be like, let's meet at the Holocaust Memorial.
Yeah. And if they don't push back at all, you're like, no way.
Well, it feels like that's also a thing where if you say let's meet at the Holocaust Memorial, and that's also where it's like, now I'm just deleting your stuff. Like, no thanks. So that seems like that would backfire as a test, because it's like they would be they're giving you the correct answer by not continuing with you.
I mean, it'd be sort of like if there was a Saudi Arabian dating app and they're like, let's meet at Ground Zero in Manhattan. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. Like, or I'm trying to think of like the American equivalent, like.
Yeah, 9/11 Memorial.
Yeah.
Seems like a bad place.
Let's hook up at the 9/11 Memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find a little.
I mean, it'd be an experience you would never forget.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. No. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a local equivalent. You know what I mean? It'd be like, hey, remember where that lady like burned herself alive in a car like a couple weeks ago, and on whatever street? Like, let's meet there. And it's like, we could have done this a number of other ways. You could have described that.
Yeah, it's like, there's a weird part where there's a certain erotic element.
Just put a pin on a Google map. Just send a Google pin.
Like fucking in a graveyard has a certain level of eroticism to it. But what about if you said like there was a grinder hookup in Bittersweet Park? There's that memorial for like World War II vets.
Yeah.
Or like that weird memorial for like cops who got killed. And you're like, let's go bang on this memorial.
Yeah, that's a little weird, but it's not as weird.
I mean, it's a park, so it's already kind of like in bounds for a certain kind of hookup.
Well, it's like a monument to, I suppose if some monster wanted to mount an argument, they could, but it's like Holocaust, arguably one of the worst things in human history, versus I mean, these cops getting killed wasn't awesome, but like
one of the village people is a cop. None of the village people are a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not really a Holocaust survivor themed band that is doing disco. I'm sure there's probably some doom metal band that's probably gone there, but oof.
But we did it. Peter lost at the Rhetoric Society Quarterly game, which has now replaced the Roseanne game forever.
Yeah. It would be funny I would like to, next time you're on, play this game, but in the opposite direction. Okay. I will make up a title.
You'll make up a title.
Yeah, and then see, because I'm curious if it'll be like super obvious to you, because it's like me as it'd be like me trying to come up with like character type in Warhammer.
Okay.
And I would come up with some really dumb shit that to you would be obvious because about it.
That would also be hard because there's like everything. So
yeah. But still, I feel like I would come up with something and I'd be like, Mega Aquamarine.
That probably exists.
He can go in the water. Good.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a really large gun.
I mean, I think the water part is the only part. It's like, oh, maybe not. But
yeah.
Really large gun. I'm like, that's everybody.
So I am curious to see when played the opposite way, whether it how that goes.
Whether you could make up the right fake title. Because I feel like the artistry in the Roseanne game is making up the fake one.
Yes. Yeah, give us a quick insight into your process for making your fake article.
Well, the first thing was I wanted to go across time because, like, if I made something too simple, it would stand out.
Right, like the Frederick Douglass one or whatever. Yeah.
And so I wanted to I thought about, like, basically, instead of trying to pick the fake one first, is to pick some real ones first. And then try to sort of blend them together a little bit.
Okay.
And so I picked, also thought, like, I'll pick an impractical word.
Yeah.
And then something that sounds kind of familiar, like with Norman Rockwell. When I drafted this, it was originally like practical wisdom, practical rhetoric, and watercolors. And I was like, watercolors seems too
vague.
Too vague.
Yeah.
But like if I said Norman Rockwell, people would be like, I know who, Peter and Jen would be like, I know who that is. Yeah. If I have a hook, then that seems real.
Well, and it seems like something that like an academic, I'm sure, has done at some point of like a re-examination of Norman Rockwell's this and that. You know what I mean? Like that seems right because it's like an Americana thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, but now looking at it this way, think about it like this.
What if you do this instead?
Yeah, you actually did help. I feel like you helped us out, though, by telling us a little bit about the history of RSQ, because I did not realize that the first articles were like had titles that made sense.
Yeah.
Like there's a book you can buy for hundreds of dollars that is a collection of these articles, like I think they had like a 50 or 60 year anniversary where you can just buy a collection of these articles, and it's so expensive. And I wonder why someone would want to pay 120. I think the Kindle like the print version was like $128.
My God.
That's it.
And I was like, and the Kindle version, by the way, was like $60.
Huh.
Where
that's actually that seems like not enough money to me. Like,
I don't know what it is now, but like if you look it up on Amazon, you can probably find the book.
You're talking about like 50 something years of like articles.
50 years of Rhetoric Society Quarterly. Oh, well, the hardcover is $185. The paperback's $47.24. Jen, I want to give you 10 guesses of what is on the cover of this book. And you're not gonna...
It is actually an awesome cover.
It's super weird considering what these issues look like.
Is it a bird?
No.
Is it a landscape?
Nope. I'll just tell you, it is kind of a lasery looking like 1990s style trapper keeper background, in front of which stand two women who sort of look to be standing spooning. One of the women has like a blue aqua-ish skin, a pink outfit, and purple hair, and looks to be whispering in the ear of the other woman, who appears to be a queen of some kind with a crown, giving a somewhat skeptical look and holding a giant fountain pen. Yeah, it's like they had 50 years of pent up graphic design.
And 50 years of pent up graphic design, and given who was the sort of person who organized it, it makes sense. But I would say it's 50 years of graphic design plus horny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit horny. And I don't know why. And what is she holding? Like a ball of yarn?
It looks like, if I had to guess what this is that the queen woman is... Medieval people were into like personifying like the various arts and things. Like there'd be a person for math and person for engineering, and Rhetoric was put as a dame. And so she's kind of not a queen, but meant to be like kind of like a titled Dame Rhetoric. And my guess as to the blue woman, purple haired woman with the sort of yarn, is that she might be one of the fates, because the fates always had thread.
Just kind of whispering into the
like a
queen's
fate
ear.
or a muse or something like that.
Wait, how do you know this?
You know, I go to school.
The fates always have thread. Of course, yes, everyone knows
Everybody
that.
knows. I feel so dumb after this episode because I'm like learning. It's like, oh yeah, you know, Westphalia. And I'm like, no. I do want to point out the hardcover edition, which is $185.
Does not have that
just
cover.
a blue, like Microsoft 1995 stock background.
Yeah, this is
with
the
50 years of Rhetoric Society Quarterly printed on it in a pretty standard sans serif font.
They have, this feels like something where they say the person getting the hardcover is getting this for a library. Like they are not.
Yes.
They don't want to have the awesome horny cover. They want the boring cover. And this is meant to be like, I think the idea was if you have an awesome cover, then students will be excited to read it and own it.
Trying to see how many pages this is. Oh, that's the Kindle. Let's see.
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think with that cover, anyone who reads it is going to be just disappointed.
Oh, extremely.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm going to be like, so when do they like go to the, mermaid planet and start taking all their clothes off? Like which of these is about that?
I feel like if you change the titles, like if you change the title and all the publisher information and other stuff, and you said that this was like a relatively new, like this was a self-published or like this was kind of a fantasy romance novel.
Yeah.
Like this, if you saw this in the YA section of your library, would you be like,
nope. I would. Yeah. If this design.
This would not be shocked. This would not stick out as a design.
I mean, this makes me think I could write a fake version of this and get away with it because does the Rhetoric Society know that this is what's been done?
I think so. And it's an amazing thing given the fact that like most of the time the hardcover version is what you get in academic publishing. Like it is a fight to get them to publish a photograph of something. Like even just using a stock photo or to like have a couple colors on it.
Right.
Like the Rhetoric Society Quarterly Journal has one color because the publisher, and printer will be like, well, you can have one.
Yeah.
And like, if you want to get fancy with it, you can have a gradient.
Would there ever be a reason to publish an image in RSQ? Like if someone was writing the phonesis of Norman Rockwell or something.
You can get images. Well, getting any image that is copyrighted published in an academic journal is a fucking nightmare.
Jen, I'm going to try and describe. There is an image in one of these articles, and I will try to describe it to you. It's a rectangular box. At the top, it seems to be a scale that goes from macroscopic on the left to microscopic on the right. Below that is a box above which is written the word steam engines. And then in the box that steam engines is above, it says entropy. In parentheses, it says Clausius. And that is connected by dotted lines to an oval that appears to be unlabeled. But the line says metonymy. And the other line says nothing. But the angle formed by that line and another dotted line is labeled metaphor.
So describing this,
and then there's another one that says electromagnetic waves.
So this sounds like from the description, somebody put in their PowerPoint slide. And this is somebody whose PowerPoint slide was like where they click the text and like they click the button and new text pops up. And my guess is that like they just picked a PowerPoint slide from in the middle somewhere and they're like, fuck it, we're going with it.
The lower right hand, the last piece of text here says ... and on to a grand unified theory of physics with a question mark. This is to me, this is what I think was in Do you remember that part in the movie Seven where they find Kevin Spacey's apartment and he's got just a bookshelf full of notebooks with like crazy shit in them?
Like crazy shit, all like, three lines of written text to each line printed in there. Yeah.
This looks like something that, like, if you were on trial and they projected it to the front and they were like, because you were going for an insanity defense, this would be a strong entry.
We found multiple journals of this in his apartment. That's why every criminal needs to have a lot of issues of Rhetoric Society Quarterly in their apartment.
Yeah.
So when they're searched around, they'd be like, what was in there? Rhetoric Society Quarterly. What's that? And then it's just like the defense attorney's like, here it is.
Yeah.
My client's clearly not in their right mind. They're not capable of understanding right from wrong. I think their mind has been so warped.
Yeah. I think, God forbid that ever happens and you're in that situation. But if it does, I feel like this is your strategy.
This is my legal defense.
Just bring those in and be like, can you explain these articles to us? And then you just start explaining it like, duh, everyone knows this.
Right.
And everyone will be like, yeah, he's on another planet. Like,
it's like, well, the thread means this is a muse. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Well, sounds like we did it.
We did it.
Good job, everyone. To a lesser extent, me, because I lost. But we made it to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, we justified your efforts at the very least.
This was among the more educational Helpful Snowman episodes.
God, like 1,000% more educational than anything we've ever done on this show.
Do you think we helped anybody? I mean, do we help people normally in Helpful Snowman?
No, but like...
Are we further away from helping anybody than in a median episode of Helpful Snowman?
I mean, okay, on some level, I feel like we've helped a little bit, because you know how like early in the episode I was talking about how like holding these makes me just feel that like we're nothing but dust,
right?
And like nothing we do matters. And I'm like, well, now these things matter slightly more.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've been heard by slightly more people who would never have heard of this otherwise.
That's true.
Who would never know this exists. So, I mean, like we turned up the volume on this
if
a teeny tiny amount.
If two people picked this up and read it, in fact, one of the articles we mentioned in Reddit, except for, the phronesis one, painting phronesis, because that doesn't
possible.
That means it could basically put somebody as well above average in their job.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is pick it up and read it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if one person out there listening reads one of these articles, that would almost double its readership.
Yes.
So, I guess if I look at life in a way of like life is basically just about fighting the futility of life.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that kind of.
It's sort of like when you think about your books, the books you sold. Right?
Uh-huh.
You've probably sold of all of your books, at least 2.
Probably.
You could go back through and be like, yeah, I probably sold at least 2.
Sure.
Of each one. So that means you're doing better than your median academic counterpart. Because they're like, well, at least 2 people who didn't have to read this for a class, who weren't required to read it and weren't reading it for work.
Yeah.
Read it.
Oh my God.
And bought it.
That makes me feel sad for these people. Because I'm like, I wrote a dumb book about like a paranormal detective called Ghost Dick. So, and more people have read it than read this thing you worked so hard on.
Let me ask you this question. Did you make any money on Ghost Dick? Like, did you get any income?
I mean, yeah.
Like a not zero amount of dollars.
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying a ton of dollars. I'm saying a more than $0.
Yes, I have made more than 0 cents for sure. I don't know if I could say in the dollars. Let's see. If I can just do Ghost Dick. I don't know how long this will let me go. Lifetime. I've sold 1,113 units on Amazon. I've sold 92 Ghost Dicks.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, probably 20 of those were copies I bought.
All right.
and then distributed against others' will.
But there's like 46 that are digital.
Yeah.
So if you've made, I'll put it to you this way: if you've made $1 off of Ghost Stick, like $1, that is $1 more than all of the articles we've discussed in Rhetoric Society Quarterly. That's how much the authors got paid. They get paid $0.
Well, that's something. Yeah. Well, I guess that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is write Ghost Stick Part 2. Don't write for Rhetoric Society Quarterly.
I guess when you're feeling like insignificant, I guess as a writer, then remember that there's always someone who tried harder and did worse.
The person, when you think about it this way, the Ghost Dick made more money than the human microbiome as visible as visceral commons, resisting rhetorical enclosure. So maybe if you feel insignificant, perhaps those authors need to feel insignificant because they're like, I could have written Ghost Dick and made money.
True. Maybe that's how I accept like the human condition and death and all that, is just by saying it's not about mattering. It's just about mattering slightly more than someone else.
Exactly. We're all insignificant, but I'm less insignificant than someone else.
I'm very marginally less insignificant than some other person.
That's right.
I'm not the least meaningful person to exist.
I'm not the most meaningless person in human history.
Well, I guess on that note, thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks to you two for being on the show.
Yay.
And
Yay.
Hopefully we'll see you again very soon. All right. Bye.
Bye.